forgot to wish you all a happy Valentine's, because you're all beautiful, whether or not you've got parasites in your brain or not. Oh, oh dear. Ooh, I got some strange messages today about my last talk. Some people are really angry at the moment, and it really does reflect on, you're not meant to be angry. If you're angry, there's a reason for it. And we're always trying to come up with a reason for being angry, and we think it's the external world, or we think we're having a raw deal. We think that, why my life isn't like their life. Why can't I have all that she's got? Why can't I be as good looking as him? And why is it that always goes wrong in my life? And we kind of blame all the time our anger on an external world when it's an internal world. People don't like that. When I get angry, somebody turns around to me, somebody who I know, says, "It's all you." Pisses you off, doesn't it? Like, no, it isn't. It's them. No, because last week you went through the same process and you weren't angry with them, but now you are. So why weren't you angry with them last week? Gone through the same thing this week. Why are you angry with them now? Oh, because it's built up. No, it's because there's something happening inside, internally, and you're not balanced. Something's going on. So over the years, I've always mentioned parasites. I've always mentioned, I've sat with a lot of amazing, I don't like to call them gurus, but they seem to have gone through a lot of shit in their life. And with parasites, I don't really like to talk too much about it because it's so deep that there's so many observations with parasites. I have my own understanding of parasites, and I have my own understanding as a healer. That's it. That's all I've got. Everything else is what I've read in the ancient times of Egypt. That's why a lot of the Egyptians talked about cleansing their body, doing parasite cleanses to clear the body temple. Reasons why. I've sat with a lot of experts in my time with parasites, a lot of people, a lot of doctors who are health conscious, who didn't talk about parasites per se, but did mention the parasite cleanser which we give to animals, or which they used to take. That I used to sit with a doctor called Frank every morning, and his understanding is very limited with parasites, very limited, but he still talked about certain parasite cleansers which helped him, and he used to do a cleanse every so often. So he knew a bit about it, but he didn't realize as much as healers know. I think a lot of energy healers understand that there is a connection between the frequency and energy that lies within your body. Energy healing is very similar to frequency healing, by the way. Just because you can't hear it doesn't mean it's not vibrating at the same frequency. So I'm going a little bit deep now, and maybe I'll lose a few people because they're like, what the fuck is he talking about? But when we are giving energy healing to somebody, that is a frequency, and that can be measured. It bloody can be measured. And I used to get doctors, health doctors, contacting me all the time, asking me, where do you heal? One of the biggest questions I ever got was, where do you heal most of all? And I used to say the brain, and they say that makes sense. And then they always mention parasites. And so, if you're asking me as a healer, what do I really believe happens in a healing session? I believe that there's an internal and external force. I believe that there's physical, there's spiritual, and there's emotional energies that are happening constantly at the same time. So we think that we are healing one thing when we're healing many. We think that we know what we're doing, but there's many things happening at the same time. And I'll give you a great, for instance. I used to heal people and work on their brain. And these were angry children, right? A lot of angry children. And I write, actually, I write in one of my books about an angry child. And this angry child took a hammer to his head and smashed himself on the head a few times in Rome. And coincidentally, I was there at the time that he did it. So there's no such thing as coincidences, of course. But I gave him a healing. And as I was healing him on his head, something happened. Something profound happened. And from that moment on, his anger disappeared. And I gave him a wand as a gift and told him how amazing he was. But something happened after that, and that was he never self-harmed. So what is it? What happens? Why is it that when angry people, sad people, depressed people, suicidal people, why is it that they come for a healing session, or they came to me and then they were fine? They were back to themselves. Well, they can only really be explanations that something was foreign. There was a foreign entity, whether that was energetically, whether it was a heavy energy, whether it was a physical issue, whether it was a parasite. And I believe it's all of the above. I believe it could be a parasite physical and a parasite demonic. Those parasites that are everywhere, spiritually speaking. And this dual or triple energy of all of these things happening at once. So I remember when I was giving a healing session, it always ends up that these people woke up and saw things that they've never seen before. Energy of crystals helped with that as well. So they started telling me of things that they saw. Like, okay, so I was new to it all. And my teacher, first mentor, said, write everything down. You should always write everything down. So I did. And I wrote down that these people were seeing themselves as a different person in a different place. Many times. And I always used to laugh it off and think, okay, whatever, you were just dreaming. You were just, I don't know, as a beginning of my healing path, I didn't realize that there was something profound in this. And it's not something I've ever talked about. It was actually going into my book, which is going to be a profound book. So I'm going to give you a taste of what I mean by this. And I'm going to also tell you something which might be profound to you as well, that you might have never have even thought about. And you might look at me and think, hang on a minute, you said this. And I said, yes, there's certain things I say because I don't want my clients to go through any suffering. And that is the relationship between a certain plant and a shamanic event, and something that I said, and I'll say it to this day, that it worries me when people do it, and it's called ayahuasca, right? So I once did a reading or a spiritual attunement for a client who was quite famous, right? And she was asking me, should I or shouldn't I go and do the ceremony? And it was in, I think, LA, and a shaman was coming to do it. And I remember, this is going to be in my new book, I remember that I could see a huge parasite, and it was lodged inside a head. And it looked like this parasite had just fucking collapsed and just turned to mush. It was like pouring water over the Wicked Witch of the West, just melted away, right? But then I saw an experience at that happening, which was profound in the sense that it might have been an overload. So I'm going deep now, and like this might be like weird to a lot of people, but I'm just going to tell it you anyway. So I said to this famous actress, don't do it because you're not ready. And you've heard me say this all the time when I talk about ayahuasca. People are not ready for it. And the reason why is because when you drink ayahuasca, this is my take on it in my book. Ayahuasca is a plant that passes through the brain barrier and kills a certain parasite that has been there with you, and you are the host of the parasite, which has severed your spiritual connection to your memory of your, whether it's your pineal, whether it's your nervous, whatever that connection is, of your consciousness to the physical. If you can kill that, and if you do kill it, you then get a taste of who we truly are and what we should be on this planet. And that is all seeing, all understanding, all knowing that this world is not just a matrix, it's so much more. The world is like, you see so many things when you go through an ayahuasca. You can see it, you can see shapes and geometry that you understand. You can read it, you can read it's all like, everything, you know, and you go through, like, some people cannot handle that, guys. That sometimes you can call it a spiritual overload, but I don't believe it's a spiritual overload. I think what happens is you connect yourself to your true self. You're now connected to the physical body temple, which is now cleared away the parasites which are there that feed from you and stop you from being who you're meant to be. And that's my understanding of it, until another parasite comes and takes over that parasite. So then you're dumbed down again. And I have no idea if what I'm saying is scientifically proved, because that's all, but I don't give a shit about science. But what I do see is what I learn from my client. And I'll tell you this. The stupid girl went against what I said, and she ended up in hospital for 14 days. She was so traumatized by what she saw, and she said to me, "You're right, Mark, I wasn't ready." And she was messed up bad. So everybody runs to do an ayahuasca, and I think, well, first of all, I believe in where we're born on a physical level is what we should eat, right? If I was born in the Amazon or where the shamans are, then my body is adapted specially for the plants and herbs per se, and maybe not so much that, right, or the other. So this is where I am. So I do believe that where we're born, I think, is appropriate to our physical. And also the herbs and everything else is really made up for what we are on a physical level. And that is connected to the spiritual level. But I do believe that wholeheartedly. I don't believe that the ayahuasca is actually a spiritual or DMT, whatever you want to call it. I believe the effect of killing the parasites in the brain gives you the euphoria, or the worst case scenario, you feel fucking dreadful because there is a cleanse and a detox taking place. The parasite dies, and then all of a sudden you're getting connected to your higher self, or to memories, or seeing things that can be really difficult because you are not spiritually ready for it. You've never been ready for it because you've been born into this body, slapped soon as you've come out, needled up to the eye hills. You've been poisoned by water and non-foods, and told you're nobody, and told stop using your oh, you've got a big imagination. All of this bullshit to make you think that you're nothing and you're nobody, and you should just follow and listen to your leaders and your pop stars. There's programming. So people are not ready for it. Most people are not ready for it because they're not spiritual. Most people don't meditate. Most people don't try and connect to the higher self in a natural way. So that said, ponder on that. Think about it a little bit. We are all hijacked by parasites, whether they're in the gut, they're in the wherever they are in the brain. We've been hijacked, and there's proof of this. This isn't a lie, it's proof. So when naturopaths used to come to me and I gave them the healing session, they'd ask me, what the frigging hell just happened there? And I would say, I don't know. But I do know that there was some dark energy in your head, and I saw a lot of movement in your body, which looked really uncomfortable. I saw tossing and turning. I saw your eyes going freaky. I saw you going weird. And then after maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you went into this silence of peace. And I used to write down in my little books, I believe that energy healing is a frequency that kills parasites as well as clears dark energy. So that's why a lot of my clients who struggled with, let's say, addiction were absolutely fine after that for a month or 2 or 3 months, and then they'd go back into relapse again. Why? Because the parasites that are in this world, that are all over the place, that are in foods, that are in the sea, that are in the ground, that are in cat piss, that are everywhere, they use us as we're the host for them, and we do what they tell them. We are hosts, and they tell us what to eat, they tell us what to think, what to feel, they tell us who to be with. They do so many things. They're like, the list is endless. And you look back on ancient history and you look at the just look at, we talk about, what did I mention today? I mentioned cats, the crazy cat woman. And the crazy cat woman is a true thing, right? And it's absolutely true. You can look it up, it's true. I learned this years ago, and I learned that parasites get into the brain and start to mess with us. And they do it deliberately, not just us, they do it to animals. And this could be the next version of what I believe is going to be the next events when they talk about all these films with the parasites going into the ears and then you becoming a zombie. There's plenty of proof that happens every day now. Look at people, they're all crazy. They're all off their heads. They're all, doing things that you go, well, what the hell is wrong with that person? There's I talked about these guys who were riding motorcycles or were doing stunts or doing the craziest things. When they died, they found that this parasite was in their brain. And the last time I spoke to a wonderful guy who was a naturopath, he told me that everybody's got parasites, and everybody with this cat parasite, I can't remember what it's called because I'm not brainy that way. I don't remember things, but with specific things. But I do remember that he said that nearly everybody's got them, and they don't even know it. So we don't even know we've got them, and that's why we do things. And a lot of the times, parasites are super intelligent. They can manipulate all of us, and parasites are, not only in us, but outside in the world. So people are controlled by parasites. People are becoming parasites in so many ways. Look at the state of affairs of every global government. We're all realizing now they are parasites. All of them. They're freaking parasites. They act like parasites. It's because they are. And guess what? They probably know that somebody else is a parasite because that is so close to the dark energy and entities, because I believe there's a strong connection between parasites and dark entities. I think they vibrate at the same frequency. I think evil, I think, anything to do with parasites, or, we talk about so many connections between, parasites and what they look like. If you've ever seen parasites underneath microscopes, like, Jesus Christ, parasites are a real thing. And I got some really wacky messages telling me that I'm off my head and stuff. And like, maybe I am off my head, but this is what I know as a healer. And I believe that healing energy is a frequency, just like the frequencies that can and do affect in a very, very positive way for us to kill. There is frequencies that kill everything. That's why sound bowls, if you get the right frequency, can kill anything which should not be in your body. It's literally a frequency that can break down anything. It can be cancer. Now I'm going to get this knocked off. It can be parasites. It can be anything physical in the body and emotional, because it's all connected. The parasite is connected, I believe, to dark energies. I believe wholeheartedly that they connect. There is a frequency that connects it all, like light and dark, good and bad, yin and yang, parasites, internal parasites, outside, demonic energies. All of those are low, bad frequencies, and they feed from one another. So these are the things that, if I go really deep into it, into what I understand what parasites are, it probably frighten everybody. But the point being is that if you know it, then you start to do things to make a difference. Start to heal your body of the parasites, and you might start to feel better. Please, God, don't go and start doing ayahuasca. But my point being about ayahuasca is maybe it's not a DMT. Maybe the DMT is a result of killing the parasite in the brain, which is, you ask anybody. I remember asking David Avocado on a live call, how do you clean parasites from the brain? And not even he had the answer to it. And he's a guy who knows a lot about the health and well-being of people and clearing out parasites out of people. Because I knew this to be true. I knew it isn't easy to get through the brain barrier and kill them parasites. But if we are digesting teas like mugwort, wormwood, black walnut, if we're taking that, what am I taking at the moment? Let me just show you what I'm taking in my hotel room. This is what I'm taking at the moment. And I told you it was from some doctor who had done some work on herself. Anyway, so I take 30 drops of this every morning, and before I go to bed, this stuff here. So I think this has got wormwood in, and mugwort, and black walnut, and some others. So it's a mixture. So I take that, but I also drink my own teas, which is, I don't recommend too much. I've stopped selling them because there were only a few people struggled a bit, and it really caused a bit of issue to them. And then they kind of blame the tea, and it's like, no, it's not the tea. The issue is whatever's happening inside you. It's a detox, and it might not be a good detox. It might be quite challenging, and it might bring up more situations that need to be resolved. And so, but the majority, 99% of people who took my teas really said it was beneficial, and it was for me. And so I stopped selling it. I still have it in my office. It's still in the office there, and sometimes people contact the girls at work and say, have you still got any teas? And I still got maybe I don't know if I don't know if we've got any left, but anyway, there was some left, and we sell them to people who really said, please, I want it because it really helped. And sometimes they'll do the detox tea once every 6 months or once a year. They'll do it for 4 weeks or something, and it does make a massive difference. My point being is that I think now more than ever is that we should be looking after our body, and we should be eating correctly, and we should be thinking to ourselves, look, if you like sushi, just remember this: there's a reason why they eat ginger with sushi, and ginger is a killer of parasites. But the point being is that there's so many parasites in one piece of sushi that there could be 30,000 parasites in there. And that's why there's so many connections with parasites. So the full moon, the energy of the full moon creates the parasites to go freaking crazy and to and to start to give eggs. So there's a lot of eggs on a full moon. It's like a cycle, and parasites, they relate to the energy of the moon, and that's why they give off a lot of a lot of eggs. And in that process, you imagine if you're a host for all these parasites, and there's literally hundreds of thousands of eggs being produced inside your brain or in your gut at any given cycle of the moon, then you can understand why they call it the moon and why people go lunatic. Parasites are ticks. Lunatic, they go crazy. Lots of people go crazy. So there's so many connections to parasites, and there's so many, like we talk about the past and how they have to tell us and show us our past or our future. They call them telegrams, spiritual telegrams. So they kind of show us snippets of what they want to do to us and who we are and what we've been through. If you look at past history, if you look at movies, if you look at anything to do with parasites, you type in parasites, you'll get so much wealth of information that you'll be bombarded. You actually wouldn't realize how much info is out there. And I've spoke to quite a few people on parasites who basically spent many years with regards to parasites, and it's not really talked about in the medical industry. So why is that? Why isn't it talked about? And when people were getting sick, so they were saying they were getting sick, and then they were saying use a certain parasite cleanser. Now you're going to see all of this negative saying, oh, that this is really bad for you and all that. You will always get that. You'll always get people saying ivermectin is dangerous and all that. You're always going to get, you'll hear people say that broccoli is bad for you, that kale is bad for you. You'll hear that. You'll hear everything. So you have to make your own mind up on all of these things. But one thing that I have noticed, that all roads lead to demonic energies, and demonic energies and parasites, whether they are internal or external, I think they're all breeding in the same cesspit energy. And I think that's what we're up against now. And I think that the frequency of CERN has heightened the energy of parasites, whether it be demonic attachments, whether it be entity, all of that, those dark spiritual energies are all connected to parasites internally. One way or another, they're there to feed from us, whether it's physically from our body's mind, pumping sugar in there and making them bigger and taking over our thoughts and telling us who to like and who not to like and who to have sex with and who would not. All of this is all parasitical energy that we need to get rid of, and we need to be ourselves, and we need to cleanse the body. And that's why even back in the Egyptian times, they told you to clean your house out. And that's what we should be doing. And that would be my message today. Don't be frightened. Don't be scared. Be curious. Start doing some research on parasites and start researching how to cleanse the body and how to have a beautiful body cleanse, because a beautiful body cleanse has beautiful thoughts, beautiful feelings, joy, happiness, no sense of need or want of anything. Now, wouldn't that be a beautiful place to be? And if you're not in that place, it's probably because you've got parasites. So that's my chat tonight. That's my beautiful chat tonight. I'm sending you all the love in the world on this Valentine's Day. Not that I'm interested in Valentine's Day, because I don't believe in parasite programming. Just to finalize, when I feel the moment of buying some flowers for my partner, or something lovely, I do it because I'm inspired to do it in the moment, not when a program tells me to. So I love you all every day, all the time. You're all amazing. You're all beautiful. And I send you my love today, tomorrow, and the next day, not because it's Valentine's. Okay. Take care. Love you all. Was that a little bit of a head mash, a mind? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I just sometimes just want to. I got an awful lot of messages, nasty messages, saying that I'm full of shit. Maybe I am. I don't know. But it's just what I've recognized as a healer and my experience of 2 decades of healing people and understanding the behavior of people and why they are the way they are and how easy it was to clear that behavior as a healer, and then realize, well, it wasn't really something that you are. It was something that we've just cleared. So it was some very dark energy, and I think it was very possibly connected to parasites, which parasites, whether it's internal or they've come into you, I think it's all the above, and I wouldn't discount anything these days. So look after yourself. Bye for now. Bye.